Next, we're going to receive the annual report from the Community Preparedness Committee, and Ron will be starting, and I know the other members are here, but Ron will take lead and begin us this evening.
Thank you, City Council and the Mayor and the members of the public and City staff for attending this evening. My name is Ron Lapidus. I'm one of the members of the Citizens Preparedness Committee. I certainly don't want to get ahead of myself, and we have our names in large friendly letters on one of the slides, and so let's get right there. So what do we do? The Citizens Preparedness Committee promotes preparedness to our residents. In other words, we do not tell the city how to perform their actions. We help the residents be prepared for the next earthquake, which is coming. Never a matter of if, it is going to be a matter of when, and we want to do our best to help our citizens be prepared. The city, of course, has its own preparations as well, which we will not get into tonight. The chair of our committee is George Paponis, who is behind me. Yes, George Paponis is behind me, the tallest of the members here. Malcolm Robinson, with the amazing wavy hair, is above my left shoulder. Janet Lutis, who is also part of our ham radio club, stands behind me as well. The shortest one, didn't want to say that. And Tricia Howard. Tricia Howard sends her regrets because, unfortunately, she is off on a county mission since she works for the County of San Mateo. Our City Council liaison last year, 2018, was Mr. Medina, and this year it is Ms. Davis. So thank you very much for your participation with our committee. City staff, we have Chief Dave Cresta, our fire chief. Gage Schleiss is the emergency manager for the city of San Bruno and is represented on our committee as well. Troy Fry, the police lieutenant, is also representing the police department on our committee, and Sherry Johnson sometimes replaces him as Troy has been out for a little bit. So Sherry Johnson is a representative to our committee as well. Other members that we have is we've got OES, the Office of Emergency Services for San Mateo County. That would be Brian Mulver. When Brian cannot attend, he does send us a status report in writing. So we do have that. Walt Long is our representative from the amateur radio liaison, the Amateur Radio Volunteers of San Bruno. And we also have Doug Kuntz is our representative from the American Red Cross. Their office is located in Burlingame. So what did we do in 2018? Well, we did a whole heck of a lot in 2018. We continued to promote the Community Preparedness Committee and preparedness in general to our residents through a lot of different events that we participated in, such as the annual Posey Parade and Community Day in the Park. We did the 36th Annual Police Day at the shops at Tanforan. We had a table there. Participated in Concert in the Park, where we had, before the music, we had a table where we could discuss preparedness with our members and give out brochures to our residents to keep them informed as well. There was a really cool fire department open house. We were showing off the new, yay, fire truck. That was kind of a cool thing. And we had a table there as well to introduce people to fire preparedness and, again, community preparedness and resilience. We also participated in the Health and Safety Fair at the shops of Tanforan, and one of my favorites, the National Night Out, where neighbors actually get out of their houses, away from their cell phones and tablets, and meet their neighbors. Really cool thing, National Night Out. So we did that. We are also working with neighborhood watch groups through the Crime Committee, the Crime Prevention Committee, and we think it's just an absolutely great thing to have the neighborhood watch people and the community preparedness people all get out in the middle of the street, sing Kumbaya, and trade secrets, tips, and tricks. And so we're doing a lot of that liaison work as well. We do have emergency preparedness messages on cable TV channel 1, and we have those in English and Spanish. We've also been publishing a lot more information on SMC Alert, smcalert.gov, which is the community early warning system that is promoted by the County of San Mateo, and we've signed up our residents as well. I'll get to that in just a moment. We've been publishing that in various places, such as at the Rec Center, the newsletter, and in the Shelter Creek newsletter and other communities of interest. So we're publishing how to get on the SMC Alert from there. We're also distributing a lot of free, read that, free literature that is being supplied to us by FEMA, which is a cool thing. Free is good, and it's national standards in community preparedness, and we're relating that to our community members as well. We had 35 citizens CERT trained, Community Emergency Response Training. 35 additional citizens were trained in 2018. And let's jump right into the events and some photos. I like photos. No mosquitoes, sorry. Okay, 36th Annual Police Day at the Shops at Tanforan Park. That was on May 19th last year, and we had a table set up where we were giving away a literature and introducing our citizens to the Community Emergency Response Training Program. We did the Health and Safety Fair at the Shops at Tanforan. Over there on the left is Malcolm, on the right is Janet. Who's in the middle, Janet?
Jean Mullen.
That is Jim Mullen. Jean Mullen. Sorry about that. One of our assembly members. Concert in the Park, that is Janet.
That's Kevin Mullen. Jean is his father.
I'm sorry, Kevin Mullen.
Dad.
But
I'm sorry. You're right. Kevin
yeah,
Mullen.
but they both held the same office, so it's easy. Same last name.
Yes, absolutely, Kevin. Okay. Janet holding up one of our brochures at Concert in the Park. We were also at the Community Day in the Park on June 3rd. It was a beautiful day, absolutely amazing day out there. And we had dozens and dozens of people come by who we introduced to earthquake planning. And, we have YouTube here, little company, Google, there's a couple little companies here. And it's nice to see their employees come by and learn about how to prepare for an earthquake. Because, again, it's going to happen. Chances are very high they might even be at work when it happens. And it's really good to be able to engage that community. We really enjoy that. As I said, we trained 35 new members in 2018. There are now a total of 250, count them, 250 community emergency response trained members in the city of San Bruno, but we have a lot more to do, and that is on our goals for 2019. The CERT training is a standard program put out by FEMA. The standard program includes the disaster awareness and preparedness, basic disaster skills, first aid skills, light search and rescue, how to evaluate a building to see if a building is safe or not. Obviously, not like the fire department would do, but those basic skills. We also talk about disaster psychology and terrorism, how to keep upbeat when things do hit the fan, and keep your mind in the game, your skills up to date, and how to communicate with other members of your teams. And we finally have a hands-on exercise where we actually get to put out a fire, which is really cool. Really insanely cool. So here's some pictures from our CERT training. Ignore the woman behind the mask over there on the left side. And she is holding a gas turnoff wrench. So absolutely very insanely important that everybody has a gas turnoff wrench and you know where to turn off the gas in your house should you smell gas. Don't turn it off if you don't smell gas, but if you do smell gas, you should have the tool and you should know where to turn off the gas. Gets really embarrassing. Okay, SMC Alert. There are currently over 2,400 members of the San Bruno citizens that are signed up for SMC Alert. Again, we can do better. We have a much higher population here. We have all those workers who come in during the day, YouTube, Google, Oracle, so on. We need to get all these people up on SMC Alert, and we are doing our best to promote that throughout the community. Radio volunteers, this is our amateur radio volunteers. When all else fails, amateur radio won't. The really cool thing about amateur radio is that you can run on batteries, you can run on solar, you can run with absolutely no other infrastructure around. And the chances are very high, as we've seen in disasters, that cable service will go down, the internet will go down, cell sites will go down, and the only thing really left will be either person-to-person or amateur radio. And that's why we believe that it is so important to our residents. We did something called Field Day. Field Day is when people literally get out in a field and you try and make as many contacts to as many other amateur radio stations as you can, as if you were reacting in an emergency situation. And so we did have high participation with that. We also work a lot with the Millbrae Radio Club, one of our neighbors to the south. We work a lot with Millbrae and some of the other local clubs as well. Oh, I forgot to mention the simplex drill. We actually have mapped out the entire San Mateo County of where radios can communicate from one to another without any other infrastructure. So that means radio from a person sitting here to a radio to a person sitting there. We now have a grid that shows throughout San Mateo County where people can talk to each other and where we have holes that need to be filled in. Janet, let's talk about how we talk to the space station, because that's kind of cool.
That's very cool. Excuse me. Last March 7th, ARISS, which stands for Amateur Radio on the International Space Station, contacted students at the Parkside School. Students at Parkside talked directly to the ISS via ham radio, with the entire student body listening. They were all in the gym and bleachers. Nick Hart, which many of you know, or who many of you know, he's a member of the San Bruno Radio Club and the father of a Parkside student, formed a radio club of about 10 students with teacher Linda Ballantyne to foster interest in technology and ham radio in particular. Nick authored a proposal to make contact with the space station, getting permission from ERIS and NASA. Once the date was selected, San Bruno Radio Club, Millbrae Radio Club, and many other hams jumped into action, gathering radios, antennas, power supplies, and cables, some of which you see there. A ham operator in Southern California lent some equipment for this occasion, drove up, and because we needed 2 radios, we had 3 antennas on the roof, cables, wires going everywhere. It was amazing. Meanwhile, students from the club thought up questions that they wanted to ask Captain Scott Tingle, one of the astronauts on board, such as, what does he eat in space? Has he traveled beyond the Milky Way? Did they wear special shoes in the space station? Is space travel bad for their health? And can pets come on board, etc.? And each student had the opportunity to come up to the microphone once we established the contact and ask these questions, and the astronaut would answer. The school's PA system was hooked into the speakers so the whole student body could hear. Then from 250 miles above the Earth, contact was made with Captain Tingle. Each student came up to the mic to ask their questions. He said, number 1, he loves lasagna. Number 2, they keep fit by using exercise equipment on board the station because continued weightlessness has a negative effect on your bone and your muscle mass. So they do exercising to prevent that. They wear socks instead of shoes. No pets allowed in space. And he has not been beyond the Milky Way, but it would be awesome. He also said they keep busy fixing the many systems aboard the station. The station's getting older, and he said a lot of systems break down, and so they are busy during the day fixing all these things. The contact lasted only a bare 11 minutes. All this preparation for 11 minutes. It's amazing. Then they disappeared over the horizon, out of range. Parkside was one of the 13 schools in the U.S. who were able to contact the ISS this season. Many other schools around the world have had the same opportunity. So this is an ongoing program that the NASA does. Contact only lasted 11 minutes, but I think the memories are going to last a long time. Excuse me. It was just an amazing day. I still get wound up about it.
Thank you, Janet. Pretty cool. So from San Bruno to the years of space. I mean, is that cool or is that cool? Insanely neat stuff. And promoted by our ham radio club. So our ham radio volunteers. Absolutely amazing. Okay, 2019. Let's talk about the future here. 2019, pulsepoint.org. PulsePoint is an app that goes on your iPhone or your Android or probably a couple other tablets and so on, but it's a really insanely cool smartphone app that allows you to be called up if you are CPR or AED trained. It allows you to be pinged that there's an emergency. So many hospitals, of course, and shopping centers, SFO, there are a lot of AEDs around. The city of San Bruno also has AEDs around. There's a lot of them there. And somebody can lay on the ground dying if somebody who knows how to use one can't get there fast enough. The PulsePoint app, if you are trained to do CPR or AED, if you are trained for those and you have the app on your phone, you can be pinged, you can save a life. It's a really cool thing. We're going to be promoting that this year. We want to expand the CERT website with calendars of all the events that are coming up. We talked about the events in 2018. It's just going to be getting more exciting in 2019 and in the future. So we want to expand the website with calendars. We also want to do some best practices articles. Those can be taken from FEMA. We can write them ourselves. We're going to start putting those up as well. For example, how many of you have a picture behind your bed? You don't want it there. In an earthquake, it's going to fall. Not a good thing. It's going to hurt. So tips and tricks. And then we're going to continue to collaborate with Neighborhood Watch, again, to expand CERT, get everybody out in the street singing Kumbaya and saving lives. It's just a cool thing to do. And we're going to be running something called the FEMA Get Ready Awareness Training. Unlike the multi-week CERT training, this is sort of CERT in a box, where you bring people in for several hours, you give them the basics of how to help serve their community, and you set them free. So the FEMA training is a new and exciting thing, and we want to move towards that as well. Okay, questions? What do we got?
Easy, Ron. Any questions for Jen?
Yeah,
Please.
I've got one more comment.
Sure.
The radio club is making a major effort to get all of our members CERT trained, and we also go to the one of the CERT classes and talk about ham radio. So we're trying to get a lot of the CERT people into ham radio. So we're cross-training.
Thank you. Any questions of council? Marty.
How many people here have SMC alert?
So that's not fair.
No,
It wasn't a question to them.
No, but it's important. SMC alert is very important to know what's going on around your neighborhood, your city. I wanted to thank the board, the committee. I'm sorry, for this last year. It was great working with all of you, and it's amazing. You guys are so into this safety and preparedness. I mean, this is what they do, and they do it for free. So I just wanted to thank you from the community, and appreciate all you do.
Thank you. It is the San Bruno City Council that has given us this opportunity to serve. So thank you to every one of you.
But to Janet, Ron, George, Malcolm, and to all the committee, we want to thank you as far as a council, because it is those things that you've done, as I've seen at the CERT training and I've seen at other aspects, that reaching out to the community. And we know in this community that we are not a stranger when it's come to issues that have 2010 or last year. So we have had issues that have arisen, and it's thanks to the professionalism and the training that the staff does and is doing, and to citizens and being engaged, because as we all know, we don't know what tomorrow may bring, but something will happen down the road, if not tomorrow. And so to outreach to our community is critical and essential, because as we think back, we were blessed in unfortunate times to have a lot of resources at our disposal. Hundreds of firefighters, hundreds of police. But if we have something that is throughout the peninsula, throughout the county, we will not have those resources. So it's critical for all of us to be able to take care of ourselves, take care of our neighbors, take care of our streets, and then those that are able to assist can step forward in those challenging times and try to aid their community. So thank you for the presentation, thank you for what you do, and thank you for reminding us the importance. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.